Paranoid Pete Hegseth is, according to officials in the Pentagon, living in constant fear that Donald Trump is about to fire him. According to a new report, Hegseth's paranoia has been heightened in recent weeks as the president has fired 2 cabinet officials, creating a lethal atmosphere where anyone could be next. An official inside the Pentagon said he's just really uncomfortable with anyone who could potentially be outshining him. Which, of course, is why he, according to this official, recently fired General, Randy George, who happens to be the chief of staff, or was the chief of staff, to the man that Hegseth is now afraid is going to be replacing him. That individual, of course, is Army Secretary Dan Driscoll. And Driscoll, who is a Gulf War veteran, first Gulf War, is actually a guy that is liked in the halls of Congress by both the left and the right. So he's got bipartisan support. He's actually competent and knows what he's doing. And now there's rumors floating around the Pentagon that Hegseth could be out and Driscoll could be in. And Driscoll would, of course, sail through a very easy confirmation process in the Senate. So Hegseth fired his chief of staff just as a show of force. Like, hey, I'm still the guy in charge. I'm the big man here. It didn't help Hegseth that, of course, he came out and did his press conference this week, which by every possible measure was a complete and total disaster. He ends up snapping at that reporter, telling her how rude you are. Trying to emulate Donald Trump, but coming across somehow as even more of an a-hole than he is, which is a very, very difficult thing to do, but Hegseth pulled it off brilliantly. But even Joe Scarborough on MSNBC came out this week and said that Hegseth's performance at that press conference was so bad that he wouldn't be surprised if Hegseth got fired just for that because the optics were so horrific. And of course, Scarborough's comments came out before the report came out from the insiders saying that Hegseth is walking around in fear that he is going to be let go. Now, here's the thing. I've kind of gone back and forth, I'll admit, on whether or not I think Hegseth will or could maybe possibly one day somehow be fired. And I don't honestly know exactly where I stand with it. But what I can say is this, and I think this is proven pretty accurate for both Kristi Noem's firing and Pam Bondi's firing. Because much like those two individuals, Pete Hegseth is loyal to a fault with Donald Trump. And loyalty will take you so incredibly far with Donald. But it won't get you across the finish line if that loyalty is not coupled with results. Pete Hegseth does not have results. Pete Hegseth is not liked by the American public. So, if we view it in that lens, I do think there is the strong possibility that Donald Trump ends up firing Hegseth, especially with everything with this so-called ceasefire deal with Iran falling apart. Yes, it's Trump's fault, but he's going to blame it all on Hegseth. As I said the other day, he takes all of his problems, externalizes them, places them on another person, and then fires the person thinking that gets rid of his problems. It does not, but that's what he, I think, will eventually end up doing with Hegseth. So Hegseth should be afraid. Be very afraid. Because Donald Trump's already in a firing mood, and you're one of the biggest failures he still has left in that administration.